out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as the valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark.
I don't know how much in the zone I am today, but, you know, how are you on Thursday? Big travel day today, heading to Williamsburg for basketball later. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room, in the chat room.
Faster than a sprint.
Hit me up on the Professional Door Incorporated text line, 540-391-0788. Coming up, Marva will join us. Marva in Miami. Unable to join us on Tuesday, so she'll hop on today at 6:45. Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline. We did a podcast with Jay Pearson. Find out all about that. Get his thoughts on the schedule. That's weird. With some teams playing 9 conference games, others not. Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner podcast joins us, and then Dwight Vick. So we got a lot going on today. Hope everybody's doing well. What's up, Steven? What's up, TOB? Yeah, that's right. We're one week away from Christmas. Got to be honest, not feeling it this year. You know, I think it's hard. At least this is the first. Now, my son's back now, but he's been on the go since he got here. But when you have kids and they're grown and they're gone, and you don't have your parents and your family, you don't have that family get-together stuff, it changes a little bit, right? Not the spirit of what it means and what it represents, but just the whole excitement vibe. Not really there. By the way, next week, won't have a show Christmas Eve morning, nor will we have a show on Christmas Day. So nothing on the program next Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll do Monday, we'll do Tuesday, and then we'll have the Friday show next week, because everybody will be away for the holidays anyway. I don't know what the guest list might look like next week with everybody traveling and so forth. But we'll make do, and we'll have fun, those of us who join in here on the program, whichever way it goes. I will tell you, for whatever reason, last night and hopefully not into today, there were internet issues here in Reiner with the FiOS. So you guys are always the best barometer if things are looking kind of weird and choppy. So please let me know if something screws up. All right. You know how it is, right? You can't count on it when it's going to stay. I mean, heck, this week at Radford, it's been down twice. You know, just you just never know. So let me know if you guys have any issues, and I'll have to do the reboot as I've had to do before. Hey, Prometheus, good morning, bringer of fire. And hey, it's working, Prometheus, because today we're going to get up to about what? 50-something? I mean, that's a win, man. Especially after what we came out of. That's a win. Be sure to hit all the folks at Family Fencing, Jason Green and company. They are going to work through the wintertime. They are the best at what they do, and we appreciate their sponsorship of our studios here. 540-200-8294. I think Jason made that logo, too. Pretty sharp, man. Very sharp. Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractic, the cracker of backs and other body parts that you need. Go see him off of Peppers Ferry Road. He's terrific. He's the best. I know our very own Travis Williams from Professional Door is now a patient of Mark's. And he heard us talking about it, gave it a shot, and now he's like, wow, thanks. Feels great. Speaking of Travis, Professional Door Incorporated, what a great logo. Sponsor of our text line. Residential, commercial garage doors, family owned and operated for 38 years. Thank you, Travis. You're the best. No, he's excited about his friend. I thought I'd hear from Travis yesterday since we had Tater on. Great interview, by the way. Thank you so much. Yeah, Matt Roan's outstanding, by the way. Just outstanding. 100%. Everybody who chimed in, the guy's off the charts. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST on YouTube, thanks to Lara Ramsey and all of her support. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, the title sponsor, the presenting sponsor of this program. We thank them at all times. Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller, and the crew. Hope they have a great holiday, doing so many great things for the community. Bob Christ has the Ready Set Fund ready for you. See how I did that? Ready. I used Ready a couple different times. Hit him up, ReadySetFund.com. Anything you want to try to raise money for, they are there to help serve, and they are very, very good at what they do. They helped the Floyd County softball team get $4,000 in like 5 days, and they'll show you how you can make text messaging a major part of what you need to do for your fundraising. So that's really great. It's really great. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. They've been doing it since 1997, located at 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Give James Lawson a call, 540-381-8011. Go see Brad Harvey. If you have a vehicle, holiday, you might have somebody in your family is looking for a new vehicle. So check him out. Brad's the best. He's gotten my last 3 vehicles, and I'll go to him when I need my next one. Call the NRB Super Bowl, 540-382-5525. Ask for Amanda or Terry. They just started the NRB Nightlife. That goes from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. It's called the Neoverse. They've got glow-in-the-dark bowling. That just sounds like a night to me. That just sounds like fun. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, maker of our great T-shirts. If anybody interested in a T-shirt, hit me up. $20. We'll get them to you. Thanks to everybody at the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce for all their support. So awesome to be part of that. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee, Radford Street, 1095, Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. They're the best in the business. You can call them with all the confidence in the world, and they will come and they will take care of you. The BDST fan question of the week, brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. And so far, it's a whitewash, man. Nobody is watching bowls. That was the question I turned it into. Do you get excited? Are you interested in the bowls at all? And the answer has been a resounding no so far. And I'm not either. It's hard to get involved with it. What's up, Tootie? Good morning. Is the Friday after Thanksgiving? If the Friday after Thanksgiving, Paul asks, is Black Friday, is the Friday after Christmas Blue Friday? Oh, no. We turn the curve this Sunday. Days start getting longer on the first day of winter. Correct. They do. I just don't want any more of that single digit stuff we dealt with. And when you see that you wake up at 6 degrees or whatever it was, 4 degrees, and then they say, oh, by the way, wind chill's minus 11. I don't want any part of that. And I don't understand how there are people who actually enjoy winter. By the way, I appreciate everybody who has asked about Balboa Creed, the mascot of the program. Surgery was successful. As a matter of fact, here we go. We got a little picture. Boom. There he is. So you see right there on the shoulder, that's where the hair had to be removed. And you see the 2 incisions there that were made. That cyst got pretty large. Or not a cyst, it was an abscess. And I'm proud to announce so far that there's not been any sign of any infection. It's good stuff. So there you go. Thanks to everybody who asked. He's a warrior. Now, right there, he's a little high on the antibiotic that he's been licking. It's topical, so it won't hurt him. But, yeah, I got him in a moment there where he's just kind of like, hey, man, I'm in recovery, man. But there you go. There you go. All I know is it's nice to be able to know how to do stuff like that, because that saved me probably somewhere from what? $800 to $1,200. But there you go. That's what it looks like when you remove an abscess, or at least drain an abscess in the boy. So thanks again, everybody who asked. I was going to try to get him up here live, but that's not going to work. He's not in the mood for that. Not in the mood for that. No, lots of questions about on the professional door text line about certain people on the staff. There aren't a whole lot of information bits coming out. We do know that, we made it official. We told you about it a couple of days ago. It happened yesterday. Danny Rocco now officially part of Tech staff as an analyst. We'll see what that means. And they're going to hire the former Georgia Tech running backs coach. Yeah, Boris was late yesterday. Well, you know what, Prometheus? He's down in the Palm Coast. He's probably got his lounge chair out, as on the edge of the sand as the water's starting to, to recede a little bit. And he's probably got that sun coming up. I mean, wouldn't that be the way you would spend every morning? How cool would that be? You get out there won't be a lot of people. Just kind of get out there and walk off your back deck, go down the beach path and just kind of plant your chair. And so if he's doing that, he may have just taken a nap. Yeah, he did. He did say he had internet issues yesterday. That's true. Even in the Palm Coast. Like I have mentioned already today, we had bad ones last night, man. It just kept popping out. I just eventually gave up. So hopefully it's rectified today. I'm hardwired in as well, but if it's not working, it's not working. So we'll see. But how is everybody doing for Christmas? How's everybody ready? How's everybody? I think back to, man, oh man, it was always growing up, and you know how it is, right? When you're kids and when you have kids, you can kind of relive it a little bit. But all of my best Christmas memories were surrounded by receiving sports gifts of some type, right? Something that had to do with my sports teams. And the all-time best gift I ever received was the Tudor electric football. Now, I'm not talking about the handheld. I had all those too. Those were by Mattel. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. The Tudor electric football with the big board that vibrated. And I would get the new field every year, the new Super Bowl every year. I still have a couple of them. With the little guys that sat on the bases. And, you could get all, and I had all the teams. I had home and away, and I'd always play the actual NFL schedule, That was my favorite. Remember Super Toe? You hit the head, right? The big plastic guy, and he had the foot, and you had the goalpost, and you could love Super Toe. I'd always get the Sears and Roebuck catalog and pick out something with the Broncos. By the way, when we were taking stuff out of my mom's house a couple of years ago when she passed, I found my old Broncos Sears jacket. It's not in the greatest of shape. It's the one that has the leather sleeves. So it was orange here with the old Bronco logo with the leather sleeves. And I'm sure you had your favorite team. You know what I'm talking about, right? Going after those Sears catalogs were some of the best. You couldn't wait for the Sears catalog to come out. And you'd quickly turn to the sports and toy section, man. We don't get that anymore. It's not the same when you're just looking online and you're scrolling, holding that book and turning the pages and seeing all the cool stuff. So cool, man. So cool. Yeah, there'll be a lot of people at the, I would say, at the Tech Spring game. Yeah, no doubt, Joseph. Prometheus, my dad passed the day after the Tech Virginia game 5 years ago. The holidays haven't been the same. Yeah. And my last, this will be, wow, this is the third Christmas without mom. Yes, we're 23, 24. Yeah, because she'll be gone 3 years this coming June, on 2026. So it was the Christmas of the 23rd, Yeah, this is the third Christmas without mom, and it's just not, it's not the same. I lost my dad 2018. It's hard to believe it's been 7 years. And that was a massive hit, but you still had mom around and she still made it special. And it's not, it changes. I am not blessed with grandfatherhood. That's awesome, TLB. Yeah, that's what I hear too. I have heard that. I'm glad you are, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Grandkids kind of bring it back. But, this isn't being Scrooge or anything like that. I'm not downing it at all. I mean, it's a wonderful time of year. It's the celebration and what it represents, I'm all about. But I'm just saying, from a personal perspective, it changes a lot. It changes a whole lot. But man, those days of the NFL jackets and whatever it was, and then the toy lines were so great back then. And I'm just like everybody else. You wish you still had those old toys, man. They're so the market. I watch a lot of that on YouTube. Some of these guys that just go out to these toy fairs, toy exhibits, toy cons or whatever. It's so cool to see all that stuff again, man. Hokey Rock says, having to raise my grandkid is exhausting. Yeah, that's the part of it, right? Because you're getting all that young energy again from the grandchild, and you were a little older, so you don't have the same amount of that you did when you had your own kids. I get that. But yeah, we've gotten like 27 responses, and 23 of them are nobody cares about the bowls. And I get it. I don't care about the bowls. I think you care about your team, as somebody wrote in chat. If your team's playing right in a bowl, you'll check it out. So many guys aren't playing. By the way, congratulations to Ricky Ronnie, Old Dominion. They won theirs last night. About ODU, a 10-win season, man. It's great. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Yes, man. I had my for a long time, and the original of those, I saw those things go for thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. Prime rib. Oh, is it really? $7.99 a pound at Food Line. Really? It's good to know. That's where I buy my meat, actually. Absolutely. But so many guys have opted out. These coaches are just coming forward and saying, hey, I don't have half of my team. We're going into this game and I don't have these, X amount of players available. This started several years ago. This isn't new, but it's really hit now. The bowl games really, and the results are, I mean, you don't know who's playing, who's going to contribute. I guess the only ones that are intact are the ones in the playoff. That's why the playoff now has destroyed the bowls unless they're incorporated into the playoff. Oh, yeah, Prometheus. They're right there on the ESPN networks because they're tied into that like they are the SEC. TLB says, I had Rock'em Sock'em robots too. No, they don't make, you're right, man. My daughter several years ago, as a matter of fact, because, I was a boxer for a while, and she knows how much I've always followed it. She got me some of the new ones, and they're so cheaply made. And that's the thing today. Everything is so cheaply made to save costs. I mean, you play with it and it would break, and it's just not the same feel. It just feels light. It just feels cheap. But you're right. The originals, and they're heavy. They were heavier. You had to really work to knock the head off. And I think I was watching, I don't know what I was watching. One of those guys I watch. And Toy Overdose, somebody like that. He's great. He's a British guy. And I think he saw an original Rock'em Sock'em robot from the 60s or whenever it came out. And it was like $1,800 because it was still in the box. The boxes, oh my gosh. When you see those boxes that are like 60 years old, 70 years old, and they're still in good shape, how? It's unbelievable. It's like the dude that found the did you see that story, by the way? I meant to talk about this. Marva joins us in about 20 minutes, by the way. This was a couple months ago. 6 weeks ago. Allegedly, there was this son of his mother had passed, and he was going through an older house that he had inherited. And this just sounds like the dream story we always talked about, right? And he's going through stuff upstairs in the attic. And he's going through, there was a box that had a bunch of magazines in it. And he found not the Superman Action Comics from 1938, not the very first superhero comic book, the one where Superman's got the car. But he found a Superman 1, which I think was the second appearance. It's got a yellow cover. Did y'all see this? And it was just sitting in a box underneath other old magazines and things. So he was like, wow. And it was in really good shape. So he sent it off to one of the grading companies. I think it was CGC. And that book from 1940, whenever it was, 39 or 40, came back, graded a 9 out of 10. And it just sold for the most money of any comic book ever, like $7 million. No, it was $9 million. $9 million. Because it's the only one of its kind. And isn't that always the dream that you think about, right? You'd go through an old attic or you'd go to an old storage unit and you'd find something like that. And that person found it, knew nothing about it, was encouraged once he took it to some comic shops and you're like, man, you need to send that thing off. And he did. And it came back a 9 and he made like $9.5 million. Wouldn't you like to find something like that? Those old remember the tobacco baseball cards that are so expensive? Honus Wagner. The old Honus Wagner T206 is what they're called, from the tobacco cards. They would put them in packs of cigarettes. Remember that? Well, I know you don't remember that because you weren't around like me, but you know what I'm talking about. And that Honus Wagner card is the one that sells for the most because it's the rarest one. Wouldn't it be great to be able to go back in time, and they were probably 1 cent pack cigarettes with those cards in them? Yeah, I'm going to take a whole case of those cigarettes. I have a real problem. And then the whole time you're just opening up, trying to get, or if you don't open them, right, and you had the unopened package. But that's what I think about when I see all these shows and they have all these awesome old intact packages, man. It's great. Joseph says, I got some of my old comics I need to send off and get graded. Yeah, it's the market for all that stuff went nuts during COVID. It got so exaggeratedly high and twisted, and it's starting to come back down and level off. So you should do that, Joseph. It's always going to be a premium on that old vintage stuff, man. That stuff will never go down, especially old Spider-Man books, stuff like that. Or those old baseball cards, like a Mickey Mantle rookie cards from the 50s, 60s, all that stuff. It's never going to go down. Any of that memorabilia, it's never going to go down. It's awesome. My favorite gift ever was my Johnny West cowboy action figure. Oh, that's cool. With his horse and complete complement of trail gear. A Winchester rifle. That's awesome. Every year I got the Daisy BB gun, man. I used to love the Daisy BB gun. I never went out and hunted birds or anything, but we shot targets and stuff. Sports Almanac, everything goes back to everything Back to the Future 2. It does. It does. It was a great concept, right? It does. It's a good point, Paul. Good times, though, man. Really, really good times. So we do have those memories. And when you have kids, or like you folks are saying in chat, when you have grandkids, you can relive it a little bit. That's cool. That's cool. I hope I'm healthy enough at some point to have grandkids around. I'm not sure if the path of my children, though, are anywhere close to that being the case. To be perfectly honest, don't see that happening anytime soon, but we'll see. We'll see. Because none of my kids are married. My youngest son's just trying to figure out life in college. My oldest son's mired in his profession. My daughter is getting her master's at Tech and working. It's just, I don't foresee that being the case anytime soon. Maybe that would help. I mean, I still get the tree up and decorate, and I love looking at the lights. I think it's cool when people go all out. I still enjoy all of it. It's just not the same vibe. But yeah, getting back to the Tech coaching staff, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know about Torian Gray, any other leaks, anything like that. They're going to keep offensive line coach. They're going to keep Moore. They're going to keep Fontel Mines. That was something that wasn't a surprise. I wish they'd have kept Brooks, to be honest with you. I think he's a good running backs coach. I think on paper that's an immediate downgrade. We'll see. Daisy BB guns. Yeah. And for me, I understand people are misusing guns, but it always bothers me. I grew up on a farm. We always had rifles and guns, and my family were hunters. They never just hunted for sport. Dad loved venison. He'd go out and kill a couple of deer every year, and we'd prepare it. But I was taught so much about guns and how much respect that you had for them, and you understood how to handle them. And when people misuse them, they try to label everybody who's has weapons or has guns or hunts and all these. It just makes me mad, because the people who grew up around it have the responsibility, and they have the understanding of how they're used and how they're not used. It's the people who don't have any clue about it that misuse them, and then they try to. So I always had the BB gun, just like you. Never pointed at anybody. I always respected it, knowing the damage it can do. That's why we shot targets. Right? Oh, that's cool, Joseph. Wife has old Barbies she got at Christmas. That's awesome, man. Yeah. You could sell a few of those too. Yeah, Prometheus, I'm with you. Love all the old Christmas movies. I'll be honest, I still like to watch the old Rankin and Bass animation, stop animation stuff. Still like Rudolph, although Santa was a real dick to him. Santa Claus is coming to town. The Heat Miser. Snow Miser. I have those 2 ornaments on my tree. I love that song. Love it. Charlie Brown Christmas. I will say that every year when my kids are here, we'll watch Charlie Brown Christmas. Love it. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Home Alone 1 and 2. I never saw, I don't think I've ever seen Home Alone 2. I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever seen Home Alone 2. Maybe I should try to do that. I'm trying to think, I guess, National Lampoon's Christmas with Chevy Chase. Elf is good. Of the modern-ish Christmas movies, Elf is good. I'm getting ready to get yelled at. I hate The Christmas Story with the little kid in the glasses. What's his name? I know. Can't stand that one. Never watch it ever again. What's up, Thunder? Hunting for sport and trophies save wildlife in America. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Bone and Crockett scoring promoted hunting for mature, high-scoring animals, allowing the populations to rebound from overhunting. Yeah, and that's now, it's kind of more important than ever, especially with deer. I hate that hunters there's nobody more responsible with guns than hunters that know everything about them. It's a passion for them. Those are the people you never have to worry about. Thank you, TP. He never liked your Christmas Story either. Thank you. Thank you. Can't stand that movie, man. It's really bad. It's just bad. And the kid, I can't stand that kid. Now we need a big dog Christmas tree ornament. Hey, if somebody wants to produce one, that'd be great. Home Alone 2 is Lost in New York. Yeah. I think I'm good with Home Alone 1. I love A Christmas Carol. I love the story. Regardless of how it's told, I do like that whole Ghost of Christmas Past. Scrooged is a good movie based on that. Or I like Scrooged. You may not, but I do. I like Scrooged. Trying to think, what am I leaving out? What am I leaving out? Christmas movie wise. Remember the animated one? I think it was called 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. It was animated and it had the mouse fixing the big Christmas clock. I like that one too. I don't see that one as much anymore, but it's good. It's really, really good. Tebow says he doesn't see any drop off with Norvell. Yeah. I mean, do you think it's going to make that big of a difference in Georgia and Florida? What's going to make a difference is when these guys inquire about coming to Blacksburg, what kind of money they're going to get. I don't know how many times I have to keep bringing that up. Talk to any coach. It's all about your budget. That's where we are. That's where we are. You think one guy is going to make that big a difference? Maybe he will. I don't know. We'll see. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? It's not. Neil Leahy will disagree with me. Is it a Christmas movie? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not that old, Paul. I'm not that. Is Gremlins a Christmas movie? See, I don't think so. Just because it's got Christmas stuff based in it, that's a good debate. That's a good debate. I don't know. My first guess would be no, it's not. But people might feel differently. They might feel differently toward it. Well, that's true anywhere, though, Tebow. If you don't recruit well, if you're brought in as a recruiter and you don't come through, you're going to be relieved from that staff. It's not unique to James Franklin. Look, man, I know you're all on board. It's great. I know that right now James Franklin can do whatever he wants, and you're going to just go, yeah. And I hope it works out the way you see it. I do. But it's no different at Tech than it is anywhere else. It's going to be about how much money they're going to have, and we're going to find out with some of these portal people they bring in immediately. We're going to find out. Like I said, I'm remaining cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic because I want Tech fans to be rewarded for their loyalty to that program. I really do. You deserve good times. But we know too much about the way things are operating now in college athletics to think that this is just going to be some kind of, because Virginia Tech has a new coach that has this wonderful recruiting reputation, everything's going to go smoothly. There's going to be a lot of hits. There's going to be a lot of misses. All right? That's just the way it works. There's so much transition in coaching. We don't know where anything stands, right? The portal, this is going to be a record number of kids in the portal. And the thing, too, here's why I don't get so caught up in the whole recruiting thing anymore, Tebow. You might put all this effort in, right? You're doing all this for your staff based on recruiting. You put all this into it. I think somebody said it in chat. That kid's not obligated to you more than 1 year. All he has to do is enter the portal the next year. If something comes his way and he's not happy, or if he has a good year, you're going to have to figure out a way to keep him. Have you not seen all these things on social media? These are kids now getting photo ops promoted by the school to re-sign new contracts to stay at their school. It's utter and complete. It's just disgusting. It really is. Mines has been a very poor developer of wide receivers, Matthew. Yeah. I mean, he has. He can recruit. Here you go. Here's a prime example. He was known as being a good recruiter, especially at that position. How many of the young guys made progress or have made progress since he's been here? I think what recruiting is now, for the most part, is because you're dealing with the handlers now immediately in many cases, especially if it's a kid who has stars beside their name to a certain degree, whatever that looks like. You're now negotiating with that kid's family. I know. We just went through it at Radford. I'm not making this shit up. I mean, you're not just talking to a kid saying, hey, you're a high school kid. Come talk to us. Okay, this is great. Yeah, I like Coach Franklin. This is great. All right, so let's get down to business now. What's your budget for me at this position? How many guys do you have, and how much are you paying them? This is what's happening. And then the coach, who's accepted the way things are, will get into those discussions and be prepared to do it. You have to have a staff that has to be prepared to have those negotiations and understand that's the way it is. So that's what I think maybe when you're looking at Franklin's staff, maybe you have younger guys or you have guys that are now more in tune to the way it is. That's why you're seeing so many old coaches, or veteran coaches, I should say, step down. I mean, Danny Rocco's leaving a head coaching job. Now, granted, it's at VMI, and they've been really bad the last 2 years. He's got a chance now to go back with somebody he's comfortable with and finish up his coaching career. Got no pressure on him. Good for him. Ricky Ronnie decided to stay because he likes what he's building. He's adapted to the new way of doing things. But it's all about the money. I don't know how many times, what part of you looking around every day on X and hearing about the news that makes you think that it's anything differently than money? It's not. You're going to have anomalies every year going forward. You're going to have a kid who will commit to the coach and come to Blacksburg and go, wow, I love Virginia Tech. Sure, especially in-state kids. You're going to have kids that might be, but eventually they're going to want their money. If they're going to play and be any good, it's going to come down to money. Every school is going to have a small percentage of their roster that's dedicated to the coach and the school. And I don't know what percentage you could put on it, but it's pretty damn high that it's going to be all tied into how much money they're going to be guaranteed while they're at that school. That's where we are. That's why this system is not going to last. The way it is now, it's unsustainable. What's going to put a stop to it, and then you can get more excited about recruiting, is when this turns into employment. And when that happens, a kid's going to have to sign a 2-year deal, right? They're going to have to. And when that happens, then the kid is going to have to say, well, I really like Virginia Tech. I'm using Tech as the example because that's who we're talking about, or Alabama, or wherever. I like that place. I'm going to sign this 2-year contract. And then you're going to have things that you have to do. And hopefully the academic part gets entered into it. I don't know. But they're going to have to become employees. It's the only way it's going to survive. This is just a free-for-all of ridiculousness, man. The whole thing is. The whole thing just comes down to money. Every bit of it. Kids want 2 things, money and playing time. They do. That's true. They want the money more than the playing time. Whatever happened to monitoring and reporting what kids were signing from to make sure it was fair? Did the organization ever form? Yeah, exactly. There's no organization. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing to monitor any of this. It's just an absolute free-for-all. One of the reasons I think James Franklin's on lockdown is because he's got his budget. And they're looking around. You know how you create draft boards like in the NFL? I think he's got his board up right now, right? Okay, we could get him, afford him. What are you going to do at this position? What's our budget? They're going to go down just like you would. That's just the way it is. There's nothing wrong with that because he's doing business like everybody else. But to think of recruiting in the old manner is just not. It's not accurate. It's just not. She's accurate all the time. It's Marva in Miami.
Good morning, Rick. How are you?
We're hanging in there. We're having a good discussion in chat about what's going on. Let me get your thoughts because here you are. You're a Carolina Tar Heel. I know you sent Bill and Jordan a Christmas card. You've been around Carolina basketball for a long time. and you follow it very closely. What's your vibe on all this? I mean, we talk about, and the one and out. It all started in basketball many years ago, right? With the one and outs. You had to go to school for 1 year. That was a rule, and the NCAA actually still had, I guess, some kind of authority. And kids were at least, okay, I'm going to go there. And they went to the highest bidder for that 1 year. Kentucky under John Calipari was the most famous, as Keon Brown pointed out yesterday. The biggest payroll every year was at Kentucky. Mercenaries, one and dones, right? What's your vibe on it now as you see all this? We know Carolina has a very healthy budget to go out and get players. You have one right now who's going to be probably a lottery pick, right? He chose North Carolina because he got the highest payout, right? I mean, it's the reality of doing things, but you're going to have him from 1 year. How has that changed you as a diehard fan and knower of sports things?
Well, I feel two different ways about it. I mean, I'm happy to see players be able to make some money now because the schools were making so much money.
Correct. Yes.
And not just the schools, the TV networks were making so much money off these kids. So I'm happy to be able to see kids get some money. Part of it it's a little sad because you don't get to see players as long. You don't get to, it influences my enjoyment as just a fan of sports, in that you get to see these rivalries develop and you get to kind of know players. And if you only see them for 1 year, it doesn't feel the same. Now, under the old rules, actually, before they started you had to go for 1 year. We had a couple of players go, straight from high school to the NBA. And some of those players, you cannot argue against it. They were talented beyond belief. Like they did not really need for their basketball development for them to go to school, right? And I saw that, and I thought, oh, those people are amazing. That's a very rare group who could do that during that time. And I think the issue you see now, or one of the issues, is that some of these players really could use more time to develop their skills. Just speaking from a basketball standpoint, they could use a little bit more seasoning, because remember when they changed the rules, and this is even before kids were getting paid, there were some kids who would go and then they would declare for the NBA, and we saw some kids struggle with that transition. They weren't quite ready, but at the same time, though, I don't like to judge them because you never know really what a person's personal situation is. I mean, if there's somebody who is from a very impoverished background and this is going to be life changing, even just getting that first contract, I don't begrudge them that. I don't know their situation, but it's just learning how to play in this new landscape. And I think Carolina was a little slow on that. I mean, just last year, Carolina got a GM in place to help so that Coach Hubert Davis doesn't have to try to figure out all this stuff. So he can hopefully focus mainly on, X's and O's and not worrying about what someone is getting. But it's a part of it now. And people who are slow to learning how to play in this new environment are going to be behind and see their team suffer. Another thing I've noticed, because it's still early in the season, and just this week, Carolina was playing East Tennessee State, and I've got to see teams like that, and I feel like those teams are really improving under this new system where people don't have to sit out for transfers, because for so long the transfer rule, I felt, wasn't really fair because coaches just got up and left whenever they wanted to.
Correct.
Got a better deal.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't fair. So, I don't mind it, but I really do think it's helped the teams like the East Tennessee States, who they're getting players from bigger schools. Maybe the kid wasn't getting the playing time he wanted, or maybe he just didn't gel there. He's coming down to a smaller school and he can still really play. And it's good for the players that way. And I've been really impressed, even though Carolina has been winning these games and winning them convincingly, you can still see the talent on these rosters. And you can see like the game Carolina had this week, just Tuesday night, like at halftime, Carolina was only up by 8. And this East Tennessee State team was really, hanging in there and giving it to them. Now, Carolina went on to win by like just over 20 points. But the thing is, you can see the talent level has increased at these schools because of these new transfer rules. And so I think that's good for the game. I mean, I still love college basketball. I know it's different. I know Carolina probably won't be able to keep Caleb Wilson after this year, but you just never know. But still, you never know. Every once in a while, someone will surprise you because someone will, maybe they're not in that situation where I need to go, for financial reasons. I'm getting a lot of NIL money. I'm enjoying my time here. Maybe you get that person for 2 years and that's a win, right? So as a fan, I'm just trying to enjoy this season. I mean, it's been really fun to watch these guys play together and to see Carolina get back to playing in the way that Carolina has traditionally played. This whole, inside out game has been really fun to see. So I don't want to, I know a lot of people are doomsday, this is so bad. And there are some things that, we see that are not good, obviously, but I'm trying to focus. I'm optimistic, Rick. I try to focus.
It's got to change, though. It's got to change.
That do need to change.
It's not sustainable. This isn't going to last. This is not going to last.
And we'll see that. I mean, anytime you try to do something different, there are going to be some growing pains.
When the money runs out, when money runs out, that forces change, and that's exactly where we're headed. There's not enough money in the coffers to keep going like this. And I can speak of this. I'm just going to say it. It's not an indictment on the kids who just signed with Radford, right?
Right.
We have a brand new team. Every one of them came because of NIL and the new coaching hire. There's not one kid that was thinking about Radford. That's just the way that it is. It's not damning on the kid. It's just they're honest. And many of them,
I've had different world, right? It's more.
Well, it is. They're at Radford, and if they have eligibility left, they're trying to show, hey, they're trying to work on their next. Move. Right. And that's the way it is at every mid-major. Correct.
If somebody came, everybody listening today, watching, if somebody came to you, another company, and said, "Hey, we really like you,"
that's what it is. That's right.
And if the price is high, like I really enjoy where I work right now. I really like my coworkers. Everybody's very nice. But if a certain type of offer, though, you would be, sort of silly to pass up on if it was the dollar signs were high enough, because that type of money is life changing. And I think we should be realistic about that and not criticize kids. I mean, I think that's going to make Radford better this year. And, we'll see how it goes.
Well, and Bob Chesney was asked that question directly at his UCLA press conference. Well, here you are. You've always been on the East Coast. You have no ties to West Coast recruiting. You've never recruited out here. What makes you think you're going to be able to build your roster like you did at James Madison? And he said, well, given where we are today with the transfer portal and with NIL, that's not as big of a deal as it used to be. And I was thinking, there's a guy who understands completely exactly what's going on. He'll take enough kids from JMU and UCLA. They've got like $40 million of NIL money. They're bragging about how much money they've raised just for NIL for him to go out and spend, right? So it's interesting that he just brought that up in the press conference, very honest about it. That's a guy who's going from one coast to the other, right? And he's got no ties to West Coast recruiting. Right. I'll be interested to see who UCLA gets out of the portal, right? It's going to be interesting.
But with certain programs, though, there is still that kid who's always dreamed of playing for UCLA, right? There's still that kid. And that kid would probably come there, with or without a gig.
And the same thing with Tech or Carolina. There's kids, that's their dream school.
Their dream. They've always wanted to go there. And so you're still going to have those kids. But there are other kids who they just like playing, right? They'll play here, they'll play there.
They like money more than playing.
Well, I don't know if they like money. They like to play, but they also want to get paid for playing because they see how much money other people are making off this. I mean,
correct.
If you look at like these state universities, usually the highest paid employee in a state is usually it's their football coach is the highest paid state employee. Now, in a few places, it might be the basketball coach, but usually it's the football. That's the highest paid state employee. And so they're seeing this and they're saying, hey, I should get some money too. And especially if you're a big time player, like, yeah, you want to be able to get some money. And, like I said, we've seen this work and we've seen it, not work. But I've just been interested to see how some of these players, and I call them kids, but they're not really kids, these are young men and women, how some of them are using their money. I mean, we had at Carolina, we just saw Seth Trimble. He purchased a franchise. Like, he purchased a Ben and Jerry's. There's a famous Ben and Jerry's on Franklin Street that I used to go to when I was a student there. It's a big, ice cream shop. He purchased that and he's running it now. He's learning about that business. And I mean, I think that's great because we just don't know. Like, anybody is one serious injury away from their career being over. Take that money and use it for something that's going to help you and sustain you going forward. And hopefully people are being smart about that and have good people behind them to help them make those smart choices.
Well, you hit it on the head. It's the system that has bred all this. And when you gave these athletes, I write about it this week in the Patriot, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. It's time now. And they know they can't be challenged right now because the NCAA and these schools are going to stay out of court at all costs. I don't know when the end is coming, but anywho, real quick, let's talk about
more regulations. Something's going to happen.
Well, we'll see. I don't know who's going to regulate it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if they're going to get more congressional involvement, but
exactly.
I thought it was interesting, and I don't know all the details about this, but the players who are suing that want more eligibility. I just read about that lawsuit yesterday. The players who want more, and it's like the writer I was reading was saying, look, guys, this is ridiculous. You got to stop. At some point you have to leave college.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
You excited, getting ready for Christmas?
I am.
You'll be back on Tuesday. You're gonna be so we can talk about it.
I'll be here on Tuesday. But I'm very excited. I mean, the kids are excited, so it makes me excited. Like last night, my daughter had her holiday program at school, and they did a lot of different songs. It was just cute singing and dancing. Kids from her school is K-8, and it was just fun to watch and see how excited those kids were. And it's just like, what can I say, Rick? It's Christmas time. It's a magical time.
I know. Well, listen, thanks for jumping on today. I understand about Tuesday. No worries at all. And
yes.
Thank you very much for your time and have a good weekend.
You. Okay. Thank you. You too, Rick.
We'll see you Tuesday, our last show before Christmas. So.
Yes, I'll be here.
All right. Be good. Thanks, Marva.
Bye-bye.
Take care. There you go. Marva in Miami joining us on the program. Great stuff. Great discussion. Thanks. Keep it going in chat. Good stuff. Best audience on YouTube on our McClellan Chiropractic chat room. That's right. If the NIL was equal across the board, you wouldn't have as much of a problem with it, but it's just not. It's so out of control. Yeah, that's right. It's just the haves and have-nots has never been truer than it is right now throughout everything. Yeah. All right. We're going to keep it rolling here. Coming up, Brian Seigla and Dwight Vick joining us now. There he is, Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline, the senior writer. What's up, AB? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're hanging in there, man. How is it your household this time of year, a week now away from Christmas? The excitement of your daughter, I know, keeps you feeling young.
Yeah, well, we're getting our floors replaced right now, so it's not really the Christmas cheer right now. It's just like it looked like a desolate, sad slum for a little while. It just had like our couch in the middle of a dark room with no floor underneath it, and it was pretty bad. So give us today, and then we'll get our furniture back in. It might feel a bit more Christmas cheery.
I understand. Of course, over at Tech Sideline, with all the great coverage, you guys do great podcasts, and a lot of folks talking about your conversation with Jay Pearson. What kind of things did you learn? Did we unearth some things that we didn't know about yesterday?
Yeah, I honestly have not had a chance to hear it yet.
Okay.
Will and Chris sat in on that. Then I did the podcast after that. And then we had a Tech Sideline dinner last night. And so I haven't had a chance to do it because I'm trying to grade all these papers before the end of the semester. So I'm as eager to hear it as some of you guys are.
Okay. Well, good. Well, check it out, everybody, if you will. Check it out and see what you think about Jay Pearson's podcast and all the things that hopefully we'll get some new information about the search. Those kind of nuggets are always valuable to fans. Coaching staff, I know they're on lockdown over there. It's tough to get lots of information, but we know now with Danny Rocco leaving VMI, coming part of the staff, looks like they're going to get a new running back coach out of Georgia Tech. I mean, what's your thoughts so far, what you've heard about the coaching staff?
I mean, it's interesting. We haven't really had a chance to talk to Franklin about, anything. honestly.
Yeah.
Certainly not the coaching staff. They haven't confirmed even the Pry and the Howell hires.
Right.
Which is, again, I don't know why they do the things they do over there and the decisions that they make with some of their PR decisions, but this is how they're doing it. And I mean, it sounds like the entire offensive staff is in place. Ty Howell, OC, and tight ends coach, Norval McKenzie, running backs coach, Danny O'Brien, quarterbacks coach, and then Fontel Mines and Matt Moore returning in the roles they had previously. I thought, perhaps Elijah Brooks, that is, could have had a chance at running backs coach. Then you think about Moore and you go, are you going to retain 3 coaches from the previous offensive staff? Elijah Brooks had demathatized. So he's a DC recruiter type that, Howell does that. Franklin does that. You wonder if there's overlap there. And that's a big reason why they went for Norval McKenzie, who has, history in Atlanta, in Georgia, in the Carolinas, has a history with James Franklin, honestly, going back to Vanderbilt briefly when they overlap there. Yep. So, you're finding guys you're comfortable with. Is the staff great? I have no idea. I mean, they put them together. We'll see how they work together, but it's an interesting mix of guys that they retained and guys that they added.
And the same thing with Rocco, right? I mean, Coach Rocco had worked with Coach Franklin, knows him very well. VMI is a thankless job, let's just be honest, for what it is. And so he's going to end up, going back again. You mentioned it, familiar. Everybody who's coming is somebody who's familiar. So the Rocco
hire is interesting, and his son is going to be the assistant tight ends coach, I believe. So that's an interesting dynamic there with the father-son combination on the coaching staff. Yeah. Rocco, I mean, he's been a head coach at Liberty, Delaware, I believe, VMI. I mean, he has a history as a head coach at the FCS level, obviously, but he's made those decisions before. He's been in Franklin's shoes, and I think having a guy like that on staff, honestly, I said yesterday, would have been very helpful for somebody like Brent Pry previously that has not been a head coach before. So, think of it now, being a head coach like Franklin, being able to bounce stuff off somebody else who's made those sort of decisions before for over a decade. I think it's very helpful. And I think, the Rocco family, I think, just knows a lot about football. If you know anything about, Danny, his brother Frank's over there at LCA in Lynchburg, and Frank's son Michael played at UVA, and Danny's son is obviously now joining the staff here. I mean, there's just a lot of football knowledge in that family.
Well, again, like you said, we don't get a lot of information. We don't really know what's going to happen, but have you heard anything? Well, one thing we do know is I think I counted at least 24 starting quarterbacks who are making it known they're in the portal from last year, regardless of what level. So premium position, there's a good chance James Franklin's probably already been in contact with the guy who's going to be a signal caller next year.
Yeah, this whole notion that the transfer portal slows down since they put it in January. Like, come on, what are we doing here? This is such a farce how they're going through this stuff. Yeah, I'm sure they've been in contact with these guys, and if not directly, then through intermediaries that let them know, hey, we're going to need a quarterback here, and hey, this is the NIL package that could be behind it. When all these guys sign on the first day the portal opens, it'll just lay bare this whole system. It's like, oh, you negotiated that whole thing in 3 hours after the portal opened? I find that hard to believe.
Correct.
But yeah, that's the name of the game right now. They don't have anything else to do. There's no high school class that they're rounding out. There's no bowl game that they're preparing for. They have to look at transfers and get this roster up to a competitive level, because you look at the schedule next year, and it on paper right now, based on what last season was, it looks kind of tough within the ACC.
What were your thoughts about that, by the way? Tech's particularly 5 on the road, 4 at home. Some teams playing 9 games, some not. With that odd number, it's weird trying to do that. But what were some of your thoughts? You just mentioned it, though, kind of hinted at it. I mean, the first look at the ACC part of the schedule, it's kind of a little more difficult, to say the least.
Well, I think they play 7 of the top 8 teams in the standings from this year. And that varies so much from year to year. I mean, who thought Florida or Virginia was going to be at the top of the conference after last year? So we're judging 2026 based on how 2025 goes. And that's sometimes erroneous. It's not a great way to go.
Yeah.
When you're judging this stuff, but on paper, I mean, you play Miami, you play Clemson, you go on the road. SMU's been really good over the years. Georgia Tech, I don't think they're going away anytime soon. I mean, it's a tough schedule. challenging first year for James Franklin. Cal was already on the docket going across the country. Now you fly to Dallas as well to play SMU, which, I mean, I like, because now I get to cross off every team of my ACC list of having been to them. So getting to go to Cal, getting to go to SMU is cool for me. But now, they will go to the farthest west school, the farthest south school in Miami, farthest north school in Boston. I think that's farther north than Syracuse. I'd have to look at a map to see what's farther north, Boston or Syracuse. But, they're going in all directions in pretty great distances. It's quite a travel schedule they have.
Yeah, it really is. And in the non-con, we had Matt Rohn on yesterday. It looks like Tech's going to drop the James Madison games now with the 9 games. And I guess I can understand it, but it's going to be some bad optics. But then again, it's kind of a lose-lose, I guess, in their eyes with playing James Madison and not keeping VMI on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, if they were going to drop a game, I wish they would drop VMI. Now they took VMI's head coach. It's like, okay, you took our coach, and now they're going to play the game, and it's going to be a blowout. Once I saw the ACC schedule, that even solidified more in my mind that, yes, they're going to keep VMI and drop JMU. They're not going to, if they're playing this tough of an ACC schedule, they're not going to add JMU on top of that and keep that. So, and then Maryland as well on the road. So, it's unfortunate, because I think that JMU series could have been a fun one.
Yeah.
But, that's just kind of the reality of trying to balance out these schedules. And, it's going to be James Franklin's first game, the VMI game, unless they switch some of the schedule around.
Yeah.
That's not going to be, must-see TV. It's going to be must-see first half of the first quarter, and then you turn it off because it's not going to be interesting. So it's not going to rate much. I would imagine that would be on like ACC Network Extra or something like that. It's just not how you want to open up the season. It's not exciting.
No, you're right. It is. And I think how much control does schools have when the conference has their schedule? Can they request to say, hey, we want to have a game like you just mentioned with SMU, for instance, right? Could they request that if both schools would comply and want that to be a first conference game? Or is that something the conference says, no, we got this. You guys you're going to play the schedule we lay out for you?
I think there are requests. I don't think there are requests necessarily for like who you play. I think there are requests on, what weekends are available, or, hey, we have this non-conference game in this slot, so we're not available to play there. Or if you like, say they had a huge game in the second week of the season, they'd be like, well, we don't want to play another huge game in the first week of the season or something like that. Like, don't put us down for a marquee conference game in the opener. Let us go VMI and then play Alabama or something like that, just hypothetically. So I think that's sort of the control they have is requesting dates or certain things, timing of the schedule, but not opponents necessarily.
Yeah, the spin they put on the cancellation of the JMU stuff is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. See how all that.
Well, they'll blame it on the we had to take a 9th game and had to drop one.
Yeah, and
this is the one that worked on our schedule.
That's exactly.
I mean, it's not like they're just dropping it and then they're adding, Bowling Green or something like that. They're dropping this game, and it's unfortunate. I think it would have been interesting to see them play.
Yeah, it would have been a great opportunity, especially with them. Even though they have a new regime coming out of the playoff, it would have been a great way to. But anyway, I guess guaranteed wins are more important than interest. What else are people asking me to ask you? Yeah, what about Anthony Poindexter? Any more insight as to whether he'll end up part of that defensive staff for James Franklin?
I'm not sure. I think he's a possibility. I think there are potentially some other jobs out there that he might be pursuing as well. Obviously, I think if he could get a defensive coordinator job somewhere, that would be preferable for him. If he wants to be a defensive coordinator, if he came here, he could maybe get a co-DC title or something like that, but that's not running the show on defense. It's going to be prize defense. And they've had that dynamic before, but if you're looking for upward mobility in your job and you want to, be the guy calling the plays, then this is probably not the opportunity for him. And you look at his history with Franklin, Pry leaves, they hire Manny Diaz. Poindexter was on the staff at that point. Manny Diaz leaves, they hire Tom Allen. Poindexter's right there. Tom Allen leaves, they go with the hair Jim Knowles. I mean, he's been passed over 3 times.
Right.
For that job at Penn State. So I think part of his consideration perhaps is, I'm just spitballing here. I've never talked to him or anything like that. It has to be like, am I going to get the DC job ever there if that comes open? And then, there's the other strange dynamic. Do I want to go work for, what was like the blood rival of my college?
I know.
And, we've talked about this on the TSL pod, and like, Poindexter was at UVA when that was like the rivalry.
Absolutely.
Like Fontel Mines was there, and I think they won that one game, but they also lost 3 of them there. But like
right.
The 90s UVA Tech rivalry, I feel like was a little bit different, and perhaps that would be harder to swallow to come to Blacksburg and work in Blacksburg.
Yeah, agreed on all points. I don't. It just feels like it's not going to happen. Because why would you come and just I'll do that?
Yeah, I mean, what else is available?
Yeah,
I think, I haven't talked to Pry because they don't let us to talk to anybody anymore over there, including the head coach. What other job was Pry going to get that was going to be better than this one? If he wanted to get back into coaching this year, what job or what situation was going to be better than that? I don't think any job would have been better. So yeah, you could have your preferences of where you want to go, but eventually there's a job that's available, or there's a hypothetical job that's not. I think you take the job that's available.
I've been looking around, we've been talking about, and I know it's where things are, but does it bug you as much as it bugs me to see these photo ops of these kids re-signing their contracts with these schools saying, I got a new deal, I'm staying?
I've seen people get like all in their pants in a bunch on Twitter about that stuff. Like, what are we doing? It's like, okay, well, if a coach resigns, that gets plastered all over the place, right? Like why are we treating players differently in this whole thing? And honestly, it's answering questions that people want to know. Are these guys going to be on the team next year? So if they resign and then they're committed to coming back the next year and contractually committed, that's even better than saying, I'm coming back, or making a big video that's like not going anywhere. It's like, no, I've signed on some dotted papers that, if I change my mind here, they might sue me about this stuff. I feel like that's actually more concrete than some of the other announcements that you see out there. So I don't really have a problem with it. And I wish Virginia Tech would come out and announce some contract signings that would give me something to write about at least.
Yeah, if they would share the amount of money, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get to the level where they're sharing the amount of money, but
it'd be nice to know.
I would love that. Yeah.
Who, in your mind, is legislation ever going to properly come? I mean, and who would that be? Because the NCAA is certainly not going to be the power that takes care of this. What do you think? How is this going to be? This can't be sustainable much longer. This just can't. The money's going to run out. Can't be that much money.
You say that, and then people keep finding the money. Virginia Tech cried poor for all those years. Now all of a sudden $20 million donations are coming in. So yeah, don't tell me the money's not available. It's there. People like football. Boosters are crazy. They like football. They'll pay for football. If I was a rich person, would I continually throw money into this endeavor? No. But I'm not a rich person, right? And these rich people like to throw their money around and be involved in this kind of stuff, and act like they have this power over this roster, because they do to a degree with how much they can throw in there. I just, for the longest time, we heard from these athletic departments like, no, we could never pay the players. We just don't have the money for this. Look at this. We're operating at a loss in some cases. And they were doing that intentionally.
All lies.
Spending lavishly on, facilities and all these extraneous things, and expanding the travel of the conferences for, absurd reasons, and paying these, bloated salaries of all these administrators and coaches. And now it's time for the players to play, and they sit around and go, there's too much money. This is not amateur athletics. It's like, well, you were the ones who made it not amateur athletics before that. Don't fault the players for saying, hey, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Maybe we should get paid for working in this whole thing. So I hear this all the time. This is unsustainable. This is not college sports. It's like college sports have never been as watched as they have. They're as watched as they've ever been. TV ratings are as high as they've ever been. There's more money in the sport than there's ever been. Is the structure messed up right now? Yes, but that's on the schools and the NCAA for
100%. That's true.
Being dragged into this kicking and screaming by the courts. Then they turn to Congress and go, help us out, bail us out, give us an antitrust exemption. What have you earned? What have you done to earn an antitrust exemption? You've never met the players halfway on this stuff without being dragged into it. So I have very little sympathy for the people that sit around and say, this is, the coaches, it's like, it's madness trying to put together this roster. It's like, no, it's just different because you don't have the control that you once had. Now, if you want to, and you want to make this a professional enterprise and consider these employees and sign them to contracts, then go ahead and do it. But nobody ever takes that step. That's always a bridge too far. We could never do that. That's impossible. It's like, I once heard that paying players was impossible. Look at it now. Now it's the norm.
Well, those two sports will survive in the power schools, but we have meetings all the time in the Big South, and there's probably 20 mid-majors that won't be functioning in 5 years, things of that nature. And that's what I'm talking about. It's not sustainable across the board. It is for the power schools, sure.
Well, they won't
to
be
a certain degree.
They won't be functioning at the same level. They won't.
I'm talking about functioning at all.
I mean, they can make it work. They can make it work. They're just not going to be able to play like the big boys do. They're not going to be able to pay for those kind of players. And it's going to be a different level of competition. But if it's for the goodness of the sport and, amateur athletics, then you can make it happen. If there's a will, there's a way there. I mean, Division III has done it forever. They're not a profitable enterprise in any regard there. They're not even a scholarship system that they have set up. So it's different from what it was before, but I think if you are creative with how you spend the money, then yes, you can make it happen. You just can't operate the way that you did before. I'm sure there are some administrators who will push back on me saying that. It's like, oh, you do it. You look at the books. And I can't say that I've ever done that. So I'll trust their judgment on this. But I do think they're just like, this is the way we've done it. This is the only way we've done it. I think you have to think differently on some of this stuff.
Who's going to win the games this weekend? Who's the best game in your mind?
I mean, there's only 2 games that are worth watching, in my opinion. I think Miami and Texas A&M is the most interesting to me. I talked with Aaron McFarland about this. He's like, I think there's only one game that's got juice this whole weekend, and I agree with him. I think it's Texas A&M Miami. I think that's the most interesting. Alabama, Oklahoma, it's a rematch. It's an SEC game. I'll watch it with interest because it's 2 premier programs playing each other, but I feel like we already kind of decided that one this year. I prefer
it's already happened once.
I prefer to see them set up stuff that's not a rematch. And then you get to the 2 group of 5 games. I just don't think they're going to be competitive. Tulane's 17.5-point underdog at Ole Miss. I think JMU's 21-point underdog at Oregon. I think one of those games is fine. I think 2 of those games, that's half the games this weekend, and I think they're going to be blowouts. And, the other games have been blowouts too. There have been quarterfinal blowouts between, SMU lost by 4 touchdowns last year. But I think going in, I can't see a path to victory for either of those group of 5 teams. And that's, we're in the playoffs at this point. We should be having great games in all these, or potentially great games in all these matchups.
Well, we'll see how it all unfolds, and I hope you and your fam, man, hope you have a great Christmas. Hope you get the floor finished, and because we won't be on next Thursday.
I hope so today, too, yeah. Today is the day of days that I hope they finish it up.
Well, have fun, man. I know you will, and take care, and thanks for all you do, brother.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, man, take care. There you go. Good stuff there from Andy Better, as always. Appreciate that. We're going to have Brian Seigla here coming up just a little bit. I will disagree vehemently that it's sustainable. I know money is coming out of nowhere. This $20 million didn't come out of nowhere, Tech God. It was part of the whole 229. They knew that it's not like this gift surprised them. So I live at a different level than a power league, and I know what our budget looks like, and I know what the other sports, what we don't have, and what sports across our league don't have, and what Southern Conference teams don't have in Conference USA. And, you talk to these people, there's operating costs. And at what point? It's one thing, I know Division III, but that's the way they've always functioned. There's not that much money going into it, so there's not money coming out. Plus, they get a lot of private equity and so forth from their alumni who's very loyal. So their costs are so far down the board, they can operate at a lower cost because there's not costs going back into it other than, look at the problems that Roanoke College had as a Division III. They've lost a ton of money already on their football program, a ton of money. By the way, doesn't it make sense that Brian Steinspring should be a candidate immediately for VMI? Is that just me? Don't you think Brian Steinspring would fit beautifully at VMI? He was there before as an assistant, right? He knows that place. Doesn't that make sense? Anyway, that's a different topic. I'd love to see Steiny there. But I don't believe it's sustainable. And we can look at it from an SEC view, and we can look at it from a Big Ten view, and we can talk about it and act like the money's just going to keep the assumption is the fans are just going to keep pouring money into this. And maybe they will. Maybe as you get younger generations of college graduates, young professionals, maybe they just look at this as the next thing. And they understand it. Maybe he's right about that. But I work in college athletics, and I don't just talk to mid-major schools. I see and we're talking about all the sports. Does this mean that the athletic departments are just going to become football and men's basketball? Look how many programs are being eliminated across the country, and all those opportunities are taken away from young people. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, scandals popping up. The Michigan thing is getting worse and worse. I guess we're finding out Michigan might be the dirtiest program in the country. This whole thing with Sherrod Moore is about to take so many different. I'm just so glad that they finally dropped all this about his mental health and trying to make this like it wasn't his responsibility. The more we find out, we realize he knew damn well what he was doing. The Ohio coach yesterday got dismissed. We didn't get a reason why, but it sounds a lot like the Sherrod Moore release. It's a mess, man. It's a mess. So I can't sit here and say that I feel like it's going to be okay. I just can't. Because I know otherwise. I just got a feeling that what we're going to have is survival of the power football leagues. Coach Elmo chimed in. Yeah, Coach Elmo, you're 32-32 makes a lot of sense. The more and more we talk about it, the money will be there for that. But I wonder if that's what we're going to see. Just those two sports, because those are the only two sports that are making money. There's going to be some outliers. UConn women's basketball makes money. South Carolina women's basketball will make some money. There are probably, if you talk to Alex Guerra, our head baseball coach, there are probably 10, maybe a dozen programs across the country that actually make money. So those programs are already operating at a huge loss. Tech baseball doesn't make any money. Tech softball, Radford, Virginia. So you having to put money into it, knowing that they're costing a certain amount with their budget that they don't have already. And every year costs are going up. It's the one thing Andy didn't talk about, right? We're talking about inflation across the board. Travel alone is making it almost impossible for some of these programs to keep functioning, much less facilities, gear, scholarships, coaches' salaries, food. I mean, I see it every day. Talking to our finance people, there are things there, hidden costs you don't think about. And I know they're not feeling it at the power schools like the rest of us do, right? Yeah, we talked about that. Coach Drink went into this, and he's exactly right. That's a guy at an SEC school, by the way. That's a guy who's got innate advantages, and he sees that it's not sustainable. You know why? Because he's sitting in budget meetings, and he realizes that This is not just an endless coffer of money. It's not. I mean, yeah, you can point out the donation that Tech got. Sure, it's great. It's an anomaly. Where was Tech before September and October, before the big deal came up about going to the board and saying that they just came out saying we can't sustain this. We don't have the money. We can't compete because this is now the cost of doing business. Unless people have money printing machines, at some point the money's going to run out. It always does. It always does. What's up, CR7? We're in Southwest Virginia. Good morning. We're talking all sorts of regional sports. Good to have you. Hopefully you're not a bot. If you are, you will be eliminated. We love to have new people here, but we get a lot of – that's okay, though. That means we get folks from all over the world watching the show, and sometimes you get some things that you immediately get rid of. Yeah, Missouri's losing money. They are. I could tell you a lot of schools in the Big Ten that are losing money. Virginia Tech was losing money hand over fist. That's why they had to go make this big deal, the big presentation. Well, then welcome, CR7. Right? So then they get pledge what they show what they're going to need. And then they get this money, and they're going to have a couple more donations coming that they've known are coming. It's all time. They want to make it look great. And look, I'm happy that they have the money, and I'm happy that football and James Franklin, his first portal class, he's going to have a lot of money to spend, and that's great. And this isn't criticizing any of that stuff. This is the way to do business. I don't want anybody to think this is me coming down on the kid. This is just the way it is. I'm just saying it's not sustainable. I see this stuff. I have these conversations. I know what it looks like. I know how the budgets are planned out. The state only has so much. By the way, there are educational parts of these universities that need funding and need money. I know that sounds crazy, but it's not just about athletics at these schools. The schools function not separate from athletics. Athletic departments are part of the institutions. It's not just, okay, what do we need from an academic standpoint? And oh, by the way, athletics is its own business. It may come across that way, but the athletic department at Georgia is part of the University of Georgia. It's not University of Georgia. And oh, by the way, here's the football program. I know it feels that way, but it's not. Now, when you have specific donation money that's going in, sure, it can be allotted to anything. But I'll disagree that this is long-term sustainable. Joining us now on the program, there he is. He's Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner podcast. What's up, Brian? How are you?
What is going on, Rick? How you doing this morning?
Doing all right, man. Good to see you. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to upset you there in chat about Georgia. So let me ask you, my friend, about long-term, right? Tech right now is riding a wave of money coming in. They got the ass they wanted. They're now being able to, and what was the whole premise, right? They couldn't compete. They couldn't survive without this new ask from the board. And now they have this money coming in. They're going to have more than they've ever had before for football.
Big time.
They never had it before, but now they're getting it. Is this something they can count on every 2 or 3 years to see that? It's going to have to double probably in 2 or 3 years, the way the cost of things are going up.
Yeah, and I think the thing that we're looking at with this money and why getting this coaching hire right was so important is that winning will help open up those purse strings a little bit. Now, we will see whether that is a sustainable situation for the Hokies long term. But it's very important that James Franklin has success in these first 2 years, because when we look at that money, so much of that is going to be from philanthropic efforts from different folks. There's going to be sizable donations that are going to be needed pretty much every few years, to the tune of that 20 million that we just saw coming in. So it's going to be important that we have success on the field, because that's going to make asking for that money, getting that money, continuing to flow into the program a whole lot easier, because you're not going to have these large donations coming in if you're putting out a 7-win team every year, a 6-win team every year. You're going to have to start seeing some benefits from that, whether it's trips to the college football playoff, whether it's at least being in the conversation for conference champion at the end of every season. You start seeing that. You start seeing that you're competitive in your conference. You have a chance to make it to the college football playoff. If a couple things go your way, then things get a little bit easier. I don't think that the way we're going right now is sustainable long term, just from a college football in general standpoint. I think we're going to see at some point some sort of cap put on what these NIL contributions can be for each team. I don't know if we're going to start seeing them regulate what sort of financing and partnership that universities can enter into. I know we're starting to see some outside money getting thrown into some of these programs. I think Utah was the big one that we saw a couple weeks back. Whether that's going to be policed or not, whether that's going to be just kind of open season, I don't know yet. But I don't think that the model that we're going right now is sustainable long term. I think there needs to be at least some sort of guardrails put in there, not only to make things more competitive, but also to kind of slow down this arms race of we've got to raise this capital from our fans, from our alumni base every few years to keep up with the Joneses.
Well, and I think what it gets missed a lot is that these are school decisions. These aren't just athletic department decisions, right? These are things the school has to buy in. The school can tell any athletic department, sorry, we can't give you that anymore. We have this going on in our education. These are still institutions of education, right? We're talking about and dedicated to the sports part, but as soon as they lose, these athletic departments lose the support of campuses because they have to, then all of a sudden athletics becomes its own island, and therefore they kind of get left out of the shuffle.
Yeah, the question with that is, does at least football and maybe basketball end up in a situation where they are getting majority of their financing outside of the university sphere and become almost like a semi-pro arm of the NBA and NFL? I know they've been talking about super conferences and kind of bringing some of the larger Power 4 teams into one pool and kind of separating them into a different level of play. What that looks like from a financing model standpoint, I don't know. And, would that be, this is Virginia Tech's football program, but their funding is not from the university. Their funding is from these other private entities that are supporting the program. But then at least that would enable you, I think, to have a little bit of a harder cap that could be better policed by a governing body than what the NCAA can do, because the NCAA is not equipped to handle the situation that they've got themselves into. And I blame them, because they had no plan and they fought this thing tooth and nail for almost 2 decades. And then when they finally had to do something, they just kind of threw it out there and it became the Wild Wild West. And now they're like, Congress, please do something because we can't handle this.
Well, no, you hit it on the head. I mean, that's exactly it. And I think what you talked about earlier, we're going to see more and more and more of. With what Utah did, outsourcing it now, they're going to be run now by another business is going to basically run their finance. This is going to become the norm, don't you think? I think so. I believe it is.
I think so. And like I said, I don't know what the what Congress is going to do in terms of intervening here, whether they're going to push back on that or whether they're going to create a framework where that is allowed and then have those guardrails that I was talking about to make things a little bit more competitive, whether it's, capping what their overall budget can be, and then letting the individual teams decide what goes to NIL, what goes to the coaches, what goes to the rest of the athletic department, all those things. I think that's still to be shaken out. Right now, with kind of everything getting pulled together, when we first started out, everything was like, you had the collectives and all that handling NIL. The university was handling the budget for kind of everything else. Now everything's kind of pooled together, which I think is good for the athletic department right now because it gives them flexibility to, I need money here right now. You can apply, whatever, your budget has been allotted. But at the same time, it does create that weird arms race, and there's a lot more pull of where the money is coming from for players within not only the athletic department, but within the university itself.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how it all shakes out here in a few years. Once the new conference realignment comes, a lot of people think that's when finally we're going to see the breakaway. I agree. I think that's going to happen. How that looks, we don't know, but I'm sure the SEC and the Big Ten probably have an idea of how it looks because I'm sure they're working with it right now with the two major networks. That's the way it's going to be, and I agree with that. Filmation said that. I think Disney's going to have half, and I think Fox and the other entities are going to have the other half, just like the AFC, NFC in the NFL, right? I think it's going to be the same thing coming forward.
And Disney and ESPN are definitely going to assert themselves into this conversation because they have the 100%. Most to lose as well, because right now they are the spot for college football, and they're not going to want to let that go easily.
Well, and if these schools do want to continue to operate with all this money, they have to just cater to it because most of it's coming from the network contracts.
Yep.
Right? So they're going to have to just fall in line and do whatever this thing's going to evolve. What are they going to do? They're going to fight it and no, they're just going to say, okay, we need that money. So, yeah, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it. Your thoughts so far? We don't know about the future of Tech staff. They're on lockdown over there, but we get some information about the staff. What's your speculation about guys who still may come to the staff? You got any inside winds blowing your way at the Boundary Corner?
I've heard a ton of rumblings about Sean Spencer, Coach Chaos, being the guy on the defensive line. We'll see if that plays out. I know right now, we pretty much have the offense is pretty much set at this point. We know what the offensive staff is going to look like. We've seen the offers out there. We've seen some of the motion that they've made from some of the offers, not only for the 27 class, but kind of how 26 wrapped up there. We know what that looks like. Defensively right now, we know we've got Brent Pry, and we're kind of waiting to see where the rest of those pieces fall. Like I said, I think if you're able to pull a guy like Sean Spencer from A&M, with the relationships that he has with both Brent Pry and James Franklin, I think that would be a huge get, because if you look at guys that coach the position throughout the country that could do a better job than JC Price, he's definitely on the very, very short list, because I don't think there's a ton, given what JC was able to do from an output standpoint, from a recruiting and transfer portal standpoint at that position. You couldn't get much better than that, but Sean Spencer would be somebody that fits that mold.
That's a great point that you make. I don't think people are making a big enough deal what a massive loss it is not to have JC on that staff. First of all, he's a hell of a coach.
Yep.
Secondly, there was no better recruiter or tech love on that staff than JC Price, man. And whoever's going to come in there, that's going to be interesting to me to see. That people aren't making a big enough deal about it. That one surprised me probably the most, and how quickly he was dismissed when they had that meeting, to be honest.
Yeah, and I don't know to what degree if he might still have some sort of off-the-field role with Virginia Tech, or if he's still looking to coach somewhere else in the next couple seasons. So we'll see what that looks like. And I don't know if that was somewhat of his decision, or whether that was something that James Franklin and others made as part of their evaluations. But again, if you are able to get a Sean Spencer in the building, that definitely puts a little bit of bandage on that issue, because I mean, looking at the output that he's gotten at every stop, you really can't find a much better defensive line coach in the country than Sean Spencer. So if you're able to pull that off, that definitely kind of alleviates some of the pain of losing J.C. Price.
Well, and one bit of good news we've been talking about, we see all these quarterbacks that have jumped in the portal. James Franklin's going to have a good quarterback for his first team in Blacksburg. We don't know where it's going to come from yet because we don't know who they're negotiating with, but those negotiations are happening now. They're not going to wait till January 2nd. It's interesting to see who it's going to be, but boy, he's going to have a lot of options, right? A lot of options.
There's a lot of options out there. You could see Drunkmeyer, you could see a Colton Joseph. There's a handful of folks that you could really see. When you look at Joseph, obviously he's had a lot more experience. He's looking to step up in competition level. Then you got Drunkmeyer that he had a tough start for like his first real playing time was against Iowa in Iowa, and had a little bit of a rough go of it. But when you look at the way the rest of the season worked out, he got better and better each week, and you could kind of see the progression of a redshirt freshman there. So you'd be getting a guy that has some a good amount of time that he could still be with the program if you're able to pull that off. And that may be a better option to go, looking at what James Franklin was saying about only wanting to use the portal pretty heavily in year one, wanting to use it as kind of a supplementary tool going forward. Being able to get a quarterback with multiple years left that has shown promise, has shown ability, and could be a starter for 2 or 3 years for your program would be, I think, a good starting point for Franklin regime here.
And then yesterday we found out, because we don't know who's been asked to leave, but Garrett Rangel is one of those, right? He's announced he's going to the portal, the quarterback. So that's starting to filter out a little bit. When a quarterback's one of the first ones you see, it means I think that they're really focused on that right now. Probably he knows. Joseph, to me, makes the most sense. I don't have any insider knowledge, but it feels like Joseph's going to be the guy, or could be the guy, should be the guy. He worked with Ricky Ronnie. He can talk all about James Franklin. I believe when Franklin went down there, he was watching that kid up close and personal. It feels like it's going to be Joseph. I have no knowledge. That's my prediction, though. I think it's going to be Colton Joseph, and I think that would be just an outstanding get if they're able to pull that off. That kid's pretty damn good. He's good.
Yeah, and you're gonna need at least 2 quarterbacks in this round of portal. I feel like, because you're gonna have you're gonna have somebody that's going to be your starter, but you're at least going to have one. You want to have somebody that's going to be a longer term option as well, and to give competition to whoever that starter is. So I think you're going to at least see 2 quarterbacks picked up in this round of portal when it opens up on January 2nd.
How excited are you about the games this weekend? I know a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are kind of but how you feeling about the weekend game, the 4 games?
Yeah, I think there's some intriguing matchups. I'm interested to see if anything what a JMU can do.
That exactly. I just want them to go out and stay as competitive as they can be.
Yeah, I mean, if that's a competitive game, that's an interesting case for those G5 teams. I don't anticipate it being a close contest. I think it's at least going to be kind of a 2-touchdown spread there. But if they can keep it into single digits, especially if it rolls in late in single digits, that I think that'll be an overall win for them, an overall win for the case to have G5s in this conversation. Obviously, we still are dealing with the fallout from the whole Notre Dame debacle. And that very much a take my ball and go home, go on all the networks and rail against the ACC and Jim Phillips. And, I think there's a lot of criticism to throw at Jim Phillips, but backing a full member of your conference in the only sport that the other team does not play in your conference is not an indictment against the commissioner for everything else that you can throw at his feet. I think advocating for Miami to get in was the right move.
Yeah.
I don't think he threw Notre Dame under the bus in the process. I think it was very much hey, they won a head-to-head game. Records are what they are, very similar overall. Obviously, Miami probably had the worst loss of the group there, being that Notre Dame lost 2 games to CFP teams by a combined 4 points. So I get Notre Dame's case. And if it was my decision, I would have probably put them in over in Alabama. But if you're talking Miami versus Notre Dame, the head-to-head says it all.
Exactly. Notre Dame couldn't be in over Miami, and I agree with you. If you had to have Notre Dame in, Alabama was the team that needed to be removed. 3 losses, people. 3 losses. Sorry.
And a bad loss to FSU.
Come on. Exactly. And then their defensive coach got up there and was like, well, ever since Florida State, it's been every week. We're in must win. Well, you didn't win them all. You were like, you lost 2 after that. So come on.
And you got both raced in the SEC championship game. And I mean, you can say, let's not count those games in terms of resume. And I get all that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you see it with your eyes. I mean, that team was completely outmatched in that contest.
Totally outmatched. All right, what do you guys got going on with the Boundary Corner? I know we're a little different day this week, so thanks for moving the schedule around. What do you guys got coming up?
So we are off this week. We're taking a little bit of break. We're kind of letting the staff shake out. Next Friday is our State of the Program episode.
Oh, good.
This is the annual episode. The drinks will be flowing. We're going to have a handful of guests. And we're going to have some opportunities for listeners to jump on and give their 2 cents as well. So it's going to be a pretty fun time. So everybody bring their drinks, and we'll have a good time with it.
All right, man. Well, we look forward to that. And listen, man, we'll talk to you on Tuesday, I guess, right? We'll have you on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to wish you Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. We'll do that on Tuesday.
Sounds good. I'll be in South Boston, so you get me at South Boston.
Oh, good. There we go. Hey, we can talk about these playoff games. So there you go. There you go. All right, brother. Take care, man. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate you, Rick.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you, man, as always. Go check them out, the Boundary Corner, folks. They're great. It's fun. The drinks will be flowing. You always love to hear that when you're watching 4 guys talk about football. Good stuff. Good stuff. Dwight Vick coming up here in just a little bit, by the way. Bear with me. I've got another Balboa situation. Did y'all see the picture, by the way? Let me show the picture in case those of you. Here is Creed's post-surgery as I get him back in here. Here we go. There we go. What's up, buddy? Pretty proud of my surgical skills. I really got to be honest. Pretty proud of my surgical skills. I got to be perfectly honest. I'm pretty happy with that. Sorry, I was just watching the guy. Watching the dude. Making sure he's okay. Yeah, he is. He is. His orange is red. Yeah. My guy. Doing well. He's doing okay. Wasn't pleasant as you saw the 2 incisions that had to be made, but you do what you do. You do what you have to do. Fortunately, I grew up on the farm and I knew how that happened, and you take care of it. Great stuff in chat, man. Keep it coming. Thanks to all of our sponsors. It's always great with our sponsors here on the program. We want to thank Harvey's GM in Radford. Thanks to Brad Harvey and his service department. They're the best. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Appreciate him as always. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. The NRV Super Bowl, 25 years in business. They just started their late night activities, man. They've got glow-in-the-dark bowling. They have put so much money into that place, and it's worth it. It's worth it for you to check out. It really is. Count on it, Coach Elmo. We're going to have Coach Elmo on next week. We won't be doing a show next Wednesday or Thursday. Ready, Set, Fun, thanks to Bob Christ, bobchrist11@gmail.com. Hit him up. He's, of course, the brother of Dave Christ, the legendary football coach. They'll help you raise money, whatever it might be. Travis Williams will help you save money, right? If you need a garage door, if you need it fixed, you need a new one. They're the best in the business. Nobody does what they do any better. 38 years in business. They have a full staff now. Thank you so much, Travis, sponsoring our text line. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, BDST, here on YouTube. I've been with them for 35 years. Ryan Pry, the attorney down West Main Street in Radford, 701 West Main Street. If you have any questions or concerns about your trust or estate planning, he's the guy. And even more, 4 or 5 more answers to our BDST fan question of the week. You are not into the bowls in any way, shape, or form. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Hang out with them. Get them to your house. Talk to them. Let them fix you. Thanks to Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program. So excited to turn the calendar here soon when the weather gets warmer and see all these things being implemented that they're preparing for from a national athletics perspective. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, right off of Peppers Ferry Road. You can't miss it. Beautiful, beautiful new building. The atmosphere is just eclectic over there. It's great. It's great. And thanks to Jason Green and everybody, the sponsor of our studios, Family Fencing, 540-200-8294. I'm sorry. I saw Tebow's comment about Creed. Yeah. Thanks so much, Jason. And then the ground's thawed out now, so give them a call. They want to work through the winter to get your yard ready for the spring. They get calls all the time. It's great. I had somebody asking about a white fence. I hope you called them. They will take care of your fencing in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, Tebow. So what you're getting there, you see the hole, right? I can't point at it with the picture up, but that's the hair that I removed. I had to get all that out. And that's how big that the abscess was. And it was really sticking out when it was ready to be done. So what that is you get the antiseptic in there. It's topical, so he can lick it. And so now he's kind of high. That's what that is. He does look like he needs a drink. He does. No, that's right. Richie Davis is going to brag about his Rammies. Seahawks and Rams tonight. I won't see any of it, but good luck. I'll be in the second half of Radford at William and Mary tonight. I'm leaving for Williamsburg this morning about 10:30. Colonial Williamsburg. Great spot. Rams in Seattle. I think the Rams might be the best team in the NFL. Yeah. Oh, is that right, TLB? So, Blacksburg Country Club is the golf course is built on a Native American settlement. Really? I didn't know that. The knowledge that spews from the chat is unmatched. Pretty cool. I didn't know that. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up, by the way. They're $20. Great Christmas gift. I can get them to you before Christmas. If you're local. They're great, by the way. Everybody who's gotten them has loved them. Thank you. And thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf. The way they're made is awesome. Just awesome. We had a great week. What a week we've had. We'll review this week. Got off to a great week on Monday, right? We had Coach Elmo and Coach Grantham on. Tuesday with Marty and Rags and Mike Burnham. Marty and Rags went for 90 minutes. Matt Roan yesterday. I'm getting texts this morning. Did that not just get you all and me as well educated? The way he handled that whole process. with the outgoing coach, Bob Chesney, the honesty, the open conversations, the interviews that started immediately, why Billy Napier's the right guy. Man, that was so educational. And then tomorrow, by the way, I'll be dead tired. You'll be making fun of me more than you normally do. But Roland Lazenby is going to be on here, the author. He just got named to the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. Yeah, Roland on the show tomorrow. Glad you didn't go Sid from Toy Story on the procedure. No, I did not. And when he's not sedated, man, first time I did it, okay. But this one I was a little more nervous because it got big and ready to go in a hurry. So he came and got me that morning. Tebow says, I wish there were more pancake restaurants in Williamsburg. They have some pancakes over that way. They love some. Oh, there are a lot of them? Maybe we'll hit one that's open 24 hours. We can order some pancakes on the road. Tell Jack, hey, there you go, that 21. Tell Jack to bring his tail on the program. Tell him to reach out to me. He's got my number. Tell Jack I said hello. Got to get Jack on the show again. Jack's a hell of a football coach. Great dude. There was not a badder ass in the Pulaski County program than Jack Turner. Jack Turner was the quintessential Joel Hicks, Pulaski County Cougar football representative. Woo! That guy. Number 33. Great dude. Great dude. Good luck to Chesney. I would not take the UCLA job if you gave me $1.25 billion lottery. Did anybody win the lottery last night? Wasn't that last night? Oh, okay, thank you, that 21. Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to have Jack on here. You talk about some stories. Played at Ferrum, coached at Ferrum. Everywhere he's gone in high school, he's won. Did anybody win wasn't it last night as we await Dwight Vick? I'm not sure. Let Dwight know the invite's sent. It's just a polite thing to do. So I don't know if anybody won it or not. But hopefully they did. No one won. Oh, thanks, Sherry. No one won. Here we go. Means you got to play it this weekend. Joining us now on the program, the quintessential source for all things. Oh, I'm hearing myself. All things Virginia Tech football. It's Dwight Vick. He got his Orioles gear on today. Look at DV. What's up, brother?
Yeah, I got a bunch of – I got like 1,000 baseball caps. So let me tell your listeners and your viewers, because this comes up all the time. I talked about this a summer ago on Twitter, man. Like, growing up in Hampton and Newport News, 757, my dad is a Dodgers fan. I live in the Northern Virginia, D.C. area, so I cheer for the local teams, but I don't have a favorite baseball team. I like the Nats, but I got a big shoe collection and I got a big hat collection. I just like the hats because, in the 90s, it was a baseball cap there. I don't do – people stop me at the supermarket. Oh, my God, how about them Yankees? Or like, can you believe? I'm like, man, nah, I just like the hat. They kind of look, oh. I'm like, I don't have a favorite team. Only favorite team I have is Victory Life and the Hokies.
Silly teams you need, right?
Those are my teams. I cheer for players from Tech, players from Virginia, whether they do track, baseball, basketball. They're from the state. I'm always going to follow the athletes from Virginia. I'm a Virginian, but I just like the colors and the hats, man. But shout out to the Orioles. Great baseball stadium. I've been up there a few times. Yeah. So what's good with you?
Well, hey, man. Well, I'm getting to talk to you. That's always good. Heading to Williamsburg later today for hoops tonight.
Oh,
Bradford plays at
William and Mary
tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your guy on my man from Richmond that you co-host with sometimes. The
Keon.
former basketball player. Yeah.
Keon Brown.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's great. He's great.
He does a great job. Yeah, he does. He'll be with me tonight, by the way. He's joining me on the radio broadcast tonight.
Yeah. That's how I know I watched the show when you guys are going down there. And I was, Yep. Did y'all had that kid that broke the school scoring record or something?
Yeah. Guys at Radford for the first time in probably just 1 year, 53 points.
Man. I thought he broke down. I thought Keon, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought Keon he did an excellent job breaking down the state of college basketball because I'm going through it myself as a dad. I know exactly what he's talking about. I know exactly what he's 100% right.
I want to ask you about something that came up earlier because I know you're very close with him for one, but I don't think people are talking enough about what a loss, regardless of how this staff looks for James Franklin, what a loss it's going to be without J.C. Price, part of that coaching staff. I wanted to get your thoughts on that because not only is he quintessential Hokie, great recruiter, he is one hell of a defensive line coach.
Well, yeah, I've probably been outside of his agent, I've probably been the biggest JC promoter. I remember when he was first hired at Virginia Tech, I went to Twitter immediately and talked about how he was an underrated hire and how he was going to be huge for the program. Who knew eventually he would be thrust into the interim head coach. He went 1-2 if you count the bowl game where he had lost 30 players to the portal or the NFL. But he went 1-1 in the regular season and got us in the bowl game against a solid UVA team, a team that UVA was favored that game. People forget. Jason,
right.
They won that game on the road. Then the week before they played at Miami, and that was a real game that got real funky. Tech was in it. I mean, he will get the most out of his players. He's arguably the most passionate Hokie former player in history. His wife is a basketball legend. When she was at Tech, great family. Their daughters are great athletes. I love JC, man. I mean, it's a business, man. It is a business, and it's a weird one at times because I really feel like he can help Tech or still continue to help Tech. But you got to trust Franklin. I don't know, man. I know when you had your radio gig going, I jumped on. I was, 3 years ago or whatever, 4 years ago when I came on. And you had JC and his wife in studio. JC and I had that love fest going back and forth.
Yeah, it was great. That was great.
But JC's my guy, man. He's my big brother, and I think, and even if he was, even though he is my big brother and one of my good friends, I'm speaking based on his credibility and his ability to coach. He deserves to coach somewhere. Prior to coming to Tech, he was at Marshall, and he was at ODU. Or no, JMU, and he just did a phenomenal job. I mean, he took a kid named Tavante Beckett. People may not remember. He was a linebacker from the Tidewater area, went to Virginia Tech, had some troubles. Bud called JC up when Tavante couldn't be on the team anymore. JC already knew about him. He went to Marshall. I interviewed Tavante back in 2021. He was a kid that had he had a kid himself, the player did, and he talked to JC. JC brought him on. This is before the portal was really popping. And he went there and had a great career at Marshall, had a short stint in the NFL. So JC is a great guy. He's a father figure to a lot of players. And, man, I've been very blessed and fortunate to be around some good men as far as from a player perspective and play for some great men and coaches. So I know other guys that can speak on JC's character, other guys he's coached. So, again, I'm hoping he can land on his feet somewhere. I was surprised, but we'll see what happens, man. But it is a business. We're reminded of that every day.
Every day. Every day.
Mm-hmm.
How much longer do you think this is sustainable throughout college athletics? I know for the major programs, it's going to be for a while, but how long do you see this continuing to go without some kind of, what you want to call it, legislation or contractual agreement before these athletes are going to be reined in? Because it is uneven. It is ridiculous what some are making and others are not. And I just don't know how much longer, even if you don't want to look at it from a financial perspective, how's the competitive balance going to continue to ever be anything worthy of talking about going forward?
I don't think so. It's weird. So I know what you're talking about, and I've said before, I'm not the same fan I was with college and pro sports.
Yeah,
I'm including pro sports because pro sports is the reason all this is going on. It's weird at weird time, man. The NBA has that weird tournament in season to get viewers and give basketball players more money. College sports right now is in a weird place because coaches have always made more and more money, but now players do. I don't really, as I've said before, I don't have a problem with the players making money.
No,
I had an NIL specialist on my podcast 2 years ago, Joy, and she's based out of Richmond, and she does NIL stuff. And she broke it down to me. She said there really won't be a salary cap because until it impacts the Power Four and the SEC and the Big Ten, then basically it's just going to be the way it is. I think if you can, you should decompartmentalize it and look at basketball. Basketball, it doesn't impact it the way football does because basketball still has the NCAA tournament with 68 teams. If anything, it's made it more intriguing with the tournament, the matchups with teams from the A-10 or the Big South being able to beat a team from a Power Four because now those kids have a lot of D2 transfers, older guys. They have guys that they would normally not get 12, 14, 15 years ago. And it's made for a great product. I think, though, it's not really about the NIL. I think a lot of coaches on the collegiate and basketball and football side of things, men's and women's, are not evaluating like they used to. I think that's the biggest issue is that you have a lot of guys making a lot of money on the bench that maybe shouldn't, but I don't like to talk about somebody's pockets, but it is the way it is. Like you got guys that are bringing in people on a roster that may not been evaluated correctly. I mean, think about how long it took. I hate to bring this up, but think about how long it took Fuente to get Hendon Hooker on the field. And then he did, and he saved the season. In the following year, I think it was Brummeister they brought in from Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, Brummeister was a slot receiver playing quarterback, and you did not want to put, and you put Hendon Hooker on the bench. They said it was a quote illness. He leaves Virginia Tech and he becomes a Heisman candidate at Tennessee and gets drafted. So I think the biggest issue is evaluation. Have we lost our way? Yeah, but I think that's everything. I mean, if you want to get into a deeper discussion, but I just feel like I think it's going to continue to go on because it's not really impacting the teams that matter. There's always a system in place. The systematic approach that they have is really, they do it on the fly. Like, what are the rules? What are the statutes? What are the guidelines? Basically, I think they're going to have to figure out how to just make these guys playing and women playing collegiate sports minor league professionals. I just think they have to look at it that way because the money's not going to stop going. I mean, you're not going to stop paying them. And I mean, Tech, I know you talked about on your show this week, that $20 million donation was not out of anywhere. That was actually planned. But I mean, think about $20 million right now. Think about how you and I and your listeners and your viewers right now work and they're commuting to work while they listen to your show. They're watching at home with a cup of coffee. And they got 6 meetings today and they're waiting on that direct deposit. And then you look at 20 million, somebody just cut a check for 20 million, so it's just the way it is right now. I don't want to be the bearer. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I just don't think it's going to change. I just think it's going to get more and more lucrative. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. Look, having a son in the middle of this that has a chance to move up eventually, I can't be mad at it, man, because it does create opportunities for kids that may not have had it years ago. However, for the nostalgic fan in me, it's tough because you see a kid like the young man that scored 53 at Radford. He's not going to be there after this year.
Correct.
He'll probably be at Duke. You think about Seth Curry, who was the Big South Rookie of the Year at Liberty, right? He has that great Rookie of the Season. He goes to Duke. So it's just the way it is. And I just tell fans to find a way to enjoy the product the best they can versus trying to latch on to a player. For the first time in history, Rick, and you know how long I've covered this program with my podcast and all the different things I've done. I've called the ESPN game day in 2013. I did the spring game in the broadcast. I was in the booth. I've covered Tech for a long time. I wrote for Rivals at one time, wrote for 247. For the first time ever, I spent the first 4 games of the season trying to figure out who the hell was playing for Tech. I knew drones. I knew a few people, a few receivers. I can't keep up. And I'm not even like in a place where I'm like, I don't know what day it is. I'm not seeing that. I'm just saying, like, all the movement is very difficult to keep up now. Yeah, it's just the way it is, man.
Agreed. It's I feel like there's got to be some kind of, the kids are getting their, and I'm with you. This isn't an anti them getting paid, because for years the lies came across from all the people who were getting rich, regardless of what level down, it was happening. But at some point, I would think fans who are being asked to donate and people supporting the program, they need some reassurances too, that money is just not going to go, to a kid who's going to be there for just to collect the check for 1 year and he's gone. Like, is there going to be a 2-year contract? Are we going to see employee status? I feel like that's the way it's leaning from what I'm hearing, but who's going to legislate it? That's the question that I have. Just like, who's in control, right? I don't know.
Well, Coach K, love him or hate him. He's been around this game. I know he's retired, but he's still around the game. He's still heavily involved in basketball. He said this years ago, right before you had the mass exodus of Jay Wright and Roy Williams and everybody, Tony Bennett. But he said there is no true point of contact with the NCAA.
Yeah.
You have the president, but there's no real rhyme or reason. I mean, look how long, I hate to bring up a painful memory for UNC fans, but look how long the UNC investigation took with the whole thing with the Swahili class and the McCants and the money. That took almost 9 years.
I know.
For them to make a decision. I mean, really, you had a better chance of finding Ferris Bueller when he was skipping school. It was just ridiculous. It took forever. I don't know, man. I think, look, there's some things I think a lot of college programs need to improve, right? Take it back to my day, right? Or even after I was done playing. How often do you see the football and basketball players going to the elementary and middle school schools and reading to students anymore? How often do you see players visiting hospitals or helping out clean trash on the highway? How often do you see community service? How attainable are the players? Remember, for those in Southwest Virginia, you would always see Virginia Tech men and women basketball players in the community just doing a lot of stuff. I think that what you're seeing more is a separation between the programs and the community. And this is not to throw shade at Tech. This is everywhere. It used to be a time in the 2000s where you knew these guys were there to get an education, to play, and to put on for their community and their family back home and where they're from, as well as the university. And there was a lot of community service. There was a lot of, hey, I just saw these 2 players. They were in Hardee's and they spoke to us and they came here and got a combo. Or, hey, those guys were at my school last week and they took a picture with us. You don't really hear a lot about a community service anymore. I know I'm big into mental health and giving back, but I think what you see now, the players are driving these $80,000 cars, and it's not only the players, it's the coaches too, because there are a lot of coaches who are not involved in the enmeshment of the community. It's right. Everybody. There's a disconnect between the community and the university now, with the players and the community. And I think that has a lot of fans. I can't speak for everybody, but there's a contingency of fans who feel like this really is pro ball. I don't even see posts on Twitter anymore when they show players. You might see a few media outlets with universities, but it used to be a time, hey, 94% of our players graduated. Many of them had a 3.5. Yeah. It is really basically pro sports. Yeah. And if you're okay with that, you're going to enjoy it. Like, you got the playoffs this weekend. I always wanted college football playoffs, but I feel like even that has become saturated because you feel like ESPN is really pushing for the teams they want to see make it. And I'm rooting for the JMUs, not because I'm a hater, but because I just really feel like we need something to shake this thing up, but I don't know if it's going to happen. So I didn't mean to get long-winded on that answer, man. But I just feel like, man, and I'm not stuck in my ways. I'm not like it has me back in my day. I just feel like right now, you know, it's so much of a business. And it was a cool part of seeing these guys mature when they got to college. I was in a group chat. I'm in with my guys, Boundary Corner. You know, you just have my guy B and Brian. I'm in a group. Those are my brothers. And, you know, we have fun in the chat. And they were calling me the Grinch because, you know, you have all these hires and these commitments. And they were like, are you not excited? I said, I'm not excited right now because we haven't won any games. This is all business. We're bringing in this guy from Georgia Tech. We're bringing in this player. We threw out this offer. We may flip this kid. This is good. Until I see us win games, I'm cautiously optimistic.
That's what I use. That's the phrase I used.
You and I have been doing this now going on 4 years. And we've talked about multiple coaches at Virginia Tech. And you can go back and check the tape. I went on record. Pry's my guy. Pry knows how to do it. Pry. I like Fuente. I want Fuente to win this thing. He knows how to coach X's and O's. And then next thing you know, you and I are having a surprise show about the new state of the program. I'm just like, I'm over it, which is why I disconnected myself from being a fan of pro sports. Now, do I watch it? Do I do a parlay? Do I do fantasy football? Absolutely. I love competition, but I've been around this sport too long, man. I'm a veteran. I'm an OG. I know how this thing works. My biggest thing when someone says, what do you want to see at Virginia Tech with football? I want to see accountability. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of people flashing sports coats, and we had a great off season, and we drunk our juice and ate our vegetables. Stop with the nonsense. Give me some wins. You think about the average fan that drives or resides in Southwest Virginia that supports this program, that doesn't have $20 million, but does have $1,000 that goes and buys the hotels where we all know in Radford, Christiansburg, and Blacksburg, they raise the rates during football season.
Absolutely.
And, you know, $450 a night. Like I'm getting ready to watch the Beatles, right? And you watch them go out there and lose to ODU by 30? No. I need to see wins. I'm not going to get excited because we're about to flip a kid. I want to see wins. David Till reminded everybody watching this week, or somebody on your show, some of these kids are ultra talented, and some of them will contribute as freshmen, but some of them won't be here in 3 years.
Correct, or even next year.
That's just the way it is.
After next year, yeah.
So I'm going. Look, calm down, everybody. Let's be cautiously optimistic. let's make this program earn your trust, your faith, and your fandom. Make them earn it. Hold them accountable.
100%. Well said. And that's kind of my whole view on it. There's a lot of people who's just thinking that this is going to naturally end up being that this was such a slam dunk hire that everything they're doing is just the most wonderful thing in the world. And I hope so for Tech fan, because there's no fan base I can think of that deserves it more than Tech football fan. And the unrelenting support that they've had through crappy football the last 8 years, they deserve to have their flowers. And I hope it happens, but you said it, cautiously optimistic. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think Franklin is a great hire. It makes sense. You were on it months ago.
October 20th. When you said it. What's going to happen?
You were on it months ago. I think Franklin's a great hire. I think Franklin will hold players accountable. I hope Pry holds players accountable. I hope I do. And the former player in me, I want these players playing right now at Virginia Tech to understand the importance of legacy. One reason I'm on your show and I'm featured on many platforms is because at one time when I was younger and had hair, I was a very good player, right? But I get featured because of my legacy, because of my insight. Like J.C. Price is held in high regard. He's Virginia Tech football royalty because of his legacy. Cornell Brown.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All those guys, you know, Jared Ferguson, Pearson Prelo, Xavier Debe, Stephen Friday, DJ Parker, Jimmy Williams, Brandon Orr, Brandon Flowers, you Justin Harper. Legacy. Eddie Whitley, legacy, Cam Chancellor.
What a list you just listed.
That's because they won games, not because they went 5 and 7.
Great players.
You know,
man.
and I just think that, you know, we appreciate them more as we get older as fans, because you never worried about their effort and whether or not they're going to blow a coverage. They were going to make mistakes. I made mistakes. We all do. I'm just more so saying we appreciate them because they won and they have legacy. And make no mistake about it. And this is going to be something I don't think anybody on your show said. James Franklin and his staff have done great things at other universities, but their legacy is on the line right now at Virginia Tech. That's the truth.
Great point.
That's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's his last stand. If it doesn't work out here, he'll never have another opportunity, at least the one that he. Yeah. And that's why, I'm sorry. And that's why he's kind of really been in that, you know, that mode of like going 100 miles per hour, man, because I do feel like he's hungry and he's been humbled. And I hope so. I hope so. I feel like that's why, I mean, I know I watch the show and I hear things as well. I know that's why Castle's been kind of closed off, man, but I really think he's trying to lock things in. But at the same time, me as a former player, a moderator, a guy that really is connected to this program, this fall, I want to see us win. I want to be in contention for the ACC title. A conference that's very winnable. I mean, my God. Absolutely.
It's a very winnable. Hell yeah. And look, everybody talking about, not everybody, but the people talking about, oh my God, the schedule's been released. They got to go to SMU. They got to go to Clemson. They got to go to Miami. Stop it. My senior year back in the day in 98, we played at Miami when they had Ed Reed and all them. The week before we went to Clemson, we did at Clemson, at Miami, and back-to-back weeks. We went 2-0. We beat Miami in overtime. And then people need to understand that if you're a competitor and you're a player on this team, you want that. SMU, that is a lot. That is SMU and Cal, that is a long trip. But let's not make this out to be, if you want Tech to be in a power conference like the SEC or the Big Ten one day when these things realign and merge, and whenever that happens in the next 4 years, you're going to have to go all over the country anyway.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you're training right in the off season and you're really locked in and you're focused, it doesn't matter where you go. I absolutely hate, Rick, when people in December talk about it's such a winnable schedule or such a tough schedule. We don't know what's going to happen. Who's going to leave? Who's not going to be available? Let's let this thing play out. We are in a world right now where instant gratification, instant evaluation will make you overthink something that may not be as bad as you think. You know what I'm saying? So I think Clemson is a winnable game. Miami is a winnable game. But first of all, Franklin's got to get his quarterback.
That's right. First step. And nobody had Duke and nobody, to your point, DV, nobody had Duke and Virginia playing the ACC title game. Now, I know the tiebreaker screwed up and all that. It should have been Miami, but I'm just saying, just to your point, this league is there for the taking. If UVA in a make or break year under Tony Elliott could make it into an ACC title game appearance, then James Franklin in year one could do the very same thing.
Absolutely. And the year before, SMU was in the title game, and nobody had SMU in the title game. You know? So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Let's calm down with, such a brutal schedule. Oh, my gosh. Stop it. It's not. It's not, man. I mean, you look at South Carolina's schedule. My homie Shane Beamer down there in South Carolina. That's the schedule. When they did the last 7 games of the season, Texas A&M and all them teams, that's the schedule. I think this is a good schedule. And honestly, if you have the aspirations of sneaking into the playoff or winning the conference, you want to play Miami and Clemson and SMU. You want to play at Cal. You want to go. You want to play games like that. I mean, are we really going to be excited about VMI?
No. No. That's going to be the first game, and it's going to be like,
But I tell you what, if I know there's rumors about, I know David Till said JMU might be dropped, which I'm so disappointed.
I know,
but
no spin to that. Yeah.
But if you're going to play JMU, ODU, and VMI, and you're saying this is your state and you want to win the state, you got to win those games, and you got to win them convincingly. Where by halftime you're talking about where you're going to have dinner at and what comes on, who's the Saturday night game. You want to be done talking and covering it by that time, by halftime.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them to spin drop, and it's going to happen. Matt Rohn confirmed it yesterday. I mean, the AMU game is going to be dropped. It's very disappointing. on every level. That's just, there's no way you can spin that other than, well, we have to keep Maryland. It's a hard schedule. We don't really want to play a team coming off the playoff, even though they have a new regime. That's the way it's going to come across.
Yeah, and JMU fans have been trolling and talking the last 70 years, even when Virginia Tech played for an ACC championship in the Fuente, because they went to UVA a few years ago and smoked them in a really good game. They won that at UVA, and they're in the playoffs. Virginia Tech's not, and they feel like they're the best program in the state. They beat ODU consistently, and they should feel that way. They should talk trash, but they've only beaten Virginia Tech one time in school history. And it would be a good statement game, a great statement game to shut all that up if you're a Hokie or even a Hokie fan. Like, you would love to just end that. But you can't. I mean, this new age of college football and basketball, especially football, takes away from that. I would love to dump the Maryland game, although I will be in attendance at that game because I live not too far from Maryland. And I used to love watching us go up there to Bird Stadium and beat the brakes off them. I love it because, I live up here. Maryland's more of a basketball school, and they would always talk, and we would go up there, and Virginia Tech would take over their stadium. So outside of North Carolina, the Virginia Tech alumni, we run the DMV. We are huge. You saw what we did when we took over FedEx Field 3 times. So that Maryland game makes sense. But if I had my preference, I would love to see us play JMU because I'm a Virginia guy and I think it's cool. I'm rooting for JMU this weekend.
Absolutely.
Now they got a tall task though. They got to slay the Green Giant. They got to be Oregon, Nike, and ESPN, and the Zebras.
Well, that's right. That's right. And you know what? Regardless of what happens, they've already won everything they had to win. It's all gravy from here. And the benefits they're going to get from playing in that game are going to outweigh whatever the final score ends up being. I'm sorry. It just will.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah.
Hey,
who else is playing? I'm full disclosure. I've been traveling and working. It's JMU and Oregon. Who else is playing?
Well, you got Tulane playing Ole Miss again. Ole Miss has already boat raced them once. Miami, Texas A&M. I think Miami could win that game. I'm pulling for them. I hope they do.
Me too.
And then you've got Oklahoma and a rematch between Oklahoma and Alabama. Yeah.
Alabama. I'm like, Bama. Y'all get, boy. If I got the benefit of the doubt like Bama, I would be great. I could just tell people I showed up to work, but I really didn't, right?
Yeah, I know.
Because I get the benefit of the doubt being Bama. Well, some of those are good games. I mean, Tulane, man, I don't know. I have no problem with JMU. Tulane, I was like, but you know what? In the theme of Stranger Things, the episodes that are being shown, Stranger Things have happened. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
Never
see.
know.
I mean, we'll
Never
see.
know.
We'll see. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, what's your favorite all-time Christmas movie? Since obviously we won't be doing a show next Thursday, what's your favorite Christmas? What's your go-to movie, guy?
Oh, dude. So I got my guilty pleasures, but I'm not gonna list all of them. But my one, oh man, it's got to be my guy Clark Griswold.
I know, right?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? National Lampoons. I mean, every time that comes on, I'm watching it. Of course, not everyone, a lot of people say A Christmas Story or whatever. That's good. I think that's kind of run its course. I mean,
yes.
I'll have it on in the background, but that's one, and that's got to be it. I mean, there are others. Watching as soon as I get off this show, I'm going to remember a few more. But I mean, between now and next week and all next week, I'm gonna have them on. I mean, there's some ones that are like guilty pleasures that I'm ashamed to say, but even it's not my number one. But I love stuff like Bad Santa.
Yeah, hey, sure,
Bad
why
Santa,
not?
Because I love to laugh. It makes me laugh, man.
Yeah, sure, no, that's
my
fine.
My wife likes A Preacher's Wife with Whitney Houston and Denzel. She always watches that, and I'll come on. But you know, it's got to be. I just love Clark Griswold. He just takes me back to my childhood nostalgia.
I know.
You know, just when I was a youngin', and thank God my dad is still here, and just the fact that I feel like as I've gotten older and become a dad, like I get it now. I get it. I get Clark. I get Clark now.
You are Clark. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good question, man. But I'm always gonna be a movie guy, man. I know that too in my segment.
Well, listen,
hey, but
brother,
look, before I jump off,
go ahead.
Everybody watching, supporting the Victory Life movement, all your fans of the Big Dog Sports Talk Show, man, y'all have a blessed holiday. Make sure y'all love y'all loved ones and enjoy the moments. Take your time opening presents. And if you don't have anything to give, you can still give love. Pray for people, man. Just take care of your fellow man and woman, man. Take care of each other out here. It's crazy, you know?
Absolutely. Well said, brother. Merry Christmas to you and your family, man. Have a great holiday. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, man. And thanks for everything you do, and thanks for everything you make the program into, brother. Couldn't do it without you.
Yes. So. Thank you. My God. Be blessed.
All right, brother. Stay safe, man. Great stuff. Yep. Dwight Vick. The best. The quintessential source for all things Virginia Tech football. Thank you. Great stuff as always. Chat, you are awesome. I'll be here tomorrow. I don't know what I'll look like or feel like getting back at 2 a.m. or so tonight from William and Mary, but hey, we're going to do the program tomorrow heading into the weekend. Thanks for all your contributions. Please subscribe, like, and promote the channel so we can eventually get up to 1,000. Thank you again for all your support. Thanks to our great sponsors who we've talked about today and every day here on the show. And everybody stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Finally Friday edition of the program. Will Stewart scheduled to join us, Roland Lazenby going into the Virginia Hall of Fame. And I believe Jen is back from her escapade down in Florida. We'll get all the details if she is. Take care, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.